is the news review segment on Breakfast Daily, and you can get involved and interactive with us using the hashtag Breakfast Daily. The WhatsApp line is 0204-447-033 is the WhatsApp line. If you happen to be outside the shores of Ghana, you want to contribute, you can use the country code +233. Now, we're going to be talking about the 24-hour economic policy that John Mahama is recommending to bring on board if he gets the nod again as president of the country in 2024. He looks at it as a means of tackling youth unemployment and boosting the economy. Let me start with you, Kabete. What are your thoughts on the conversation so far regarding
well, as a
24-hour
proponent
economy?
of the night and dawn economy, which I mentioned on this wonderful
You always
TV
talk about
platform.
it.
Yeah, so for me, I remember in 2019, I mentioned on one of your platforms and the discussion started. So I was happy when the Tema Municipal Assembly said they have started work on the night economy. So for me, I think it's a very good call. However, I think it must be nationally considered at the national level. I am saying some of these things because we need to have a national discussion on it and then input it into a national development plan so that it doesn't happen to be a political party agenda or a manifesto-driven agenda. Forgive me. But I'm saying this because, look, I know our country. A wonderful idea like this, then you have the politicization of the issue. So for me, it falls in line with my dream of having a 24-hour system running, and I think it's a very good thing. It has an industrial employment and revenue benefit to the country, plus more. But let me look at it from the industrial growth. This is well presented. When we actually go for it, it will be the best opportunity for some increased working hours and production. Time will also be increased. It will also give us some increased domestic outputs. So if you were doing work for 24 hours for a plant that will be shut on a normal day after 6 or 8 hours. And then you are needing to get people, a lot of people shifting. So a shift system will come into play. Like we had the vehicles and the rest that were running and have been running. So all you do is that there's a potential of having to take more hands. There's a potential of increased output, as in production output. It's a very good thing. I think we should look at it. So when it comes to the increase of output, once work time has increased, production increases, there's more people now working double or triple shifts, you have increased output. Now the employment potential is automatic because when you need more hands, then automatically you need to have more people to cover in for the more hands that is requested. Now there's a revenue bit of which also actually comes in. So the company is operating at a higher increased rate. Their incomes also increases. Look, in some countries, in some companies, people target just a little profit, but more production. So let's say now it can even affect prices. If the price used to be like, let's say, 1,000, competition between 3 or 4 companies that are chained into the system, increasing their production, might lead to reduction in prices because they're producing more, they're making more profit, they can increase the workload and then the production, but then reduce their cost to suit the times. Now, while the company is making more income, there are more people in the system who are now working, generating incomes as well. Now, then plays into government's field an opportunity to tax both the companies that have expanded their operation and then the workers. So once you are, the company income tax is working for the government to collect, then the pay as you earn also comes in for the employees who are also working. But there are some inputs you have to put in when you are coming to look at the 24-hour economy. You need to create, one, security, a secured and safe business climate environment, because now, especially when people are going to be going to work at night, the other group of people will also start attacking people. So you need to...
Which probably also gives opportunity for security companies to also expand their businesses.
Wonderful.
So it's like a synergistic, kind of...
Sometimes, I tell people, create the platform for discussion. I just started. Look at this wonderful one you brought. I was looking at government credit, and then you're like, private sector even again expands. Because then somebody will need more security people, and then it means that we are expanding security companies as well. So this is how the best. And then the skilled labor, you need to also provide skilled labor. So now you need to be training people to fit into the industrial needs that will be actually generated. So then you have to get to train and then equip citizens to have employable skills. You have to create an industrial hubs as well. Once you are creating that environment of industrial hubs, people can now go into that industrial hub and do their business. Automatically, when it's a very big industrial hub, let's say, I mean, whatever size of acres you have, now you have about 3 entry points. Security needs for an industrial hub will be lesser than if we were all operating our own businesses. That's also good for you. Incentives and loans, I mean, give incentives, tax incentives to the new businesses. Once they are within the enclave, at the beginning, you are creating it for them. You are teaching them bookkeeping. You are teaching them how to manage their own books. They are actually industrially, the machine that 4 people will need to get 4 separate machines. Once they come together, the machine sits and about 10 companies can be using the same machine. Finally, then in that hub, you can also create that opportunity for you to have a tax certain, office where you can, collect your taxes very well. At the end of the day, you'll be running the potential of you are now going to be running your economy to the full potential. And so everybody will be okay. And once their salary, look, majority of the people who are crying, some of them are not crying because, they're not taking salary. But the salaries they are taking is becoming ham to mouth. You just eat, you buy a few clothes. I mean, that's when you are lucky. Gone. And then everything is gone. But people want to see developments in their life that once they are in a first degree, they are working in a first degree gear, they can go to a second degree gear, paying their own fees, and they can also pay their wards fees. If you create this environment very well and tie this 24 hours, it's more like an answer or an antidote to the problems that we discussed early on. Once you have this economy running, people will be fine. And security automatically, and the state gets to hear the language of peace. When people are hungry, they get angry. So I think, look, let's try this 24 hours, but I will end and say that, look, let's have a holistic national discussion about it and adopt it into our national development plan so that we can all own it.
All right. Well, Meza.
Yes. First of all, I don't think this 24-hour economy thing is a novelty. It's something that has been experimented by other economies. Seen the jurisdiction go by Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, those places, these cities, running 24/7. And we've seen the impact this has had on the economy. But we also need to commend the former President, John Mahama, for trying to nationalize it and now make it a whole national agenda of his party to pursue it when they get opportunity to be in government again. And the beautiful thing about this policy is that it's widely acceptable, because just a few days after the former president announced that he was going to introduce the 24-hour economy, the finance minister in the 2024 budget also talked about the night economy, which now tells you that, look, this is something that the people,
both sides agree.
Both sides agree. It's not about who takes credit for what, but I think that we need to understand really what this 24-hour economy policy is about.
Okay.
And listening to the former president, the 24-hour economy goes beyond just a night economy. What the former president is saying is that in a day you have 24 hours divided into 8 hours. The average Ghanaian work for 8 hours per shift. So you have 24 hours divided by 3 shifts. So you have the morning shift, the afternoon shift, and the midnight shift to morning. Now what this does is that it creates opportunity for businesses to run all day long. And because the same person cannot work for 24 hours, and the allowable work time for a person per day is 8 hours, that means you need another set of employees to work for the afternoon shift and another batch to work for the third shift. So you have first shift, second shift, third shift. All this is going to do is to multiply the workforce of the country automatically by 3, assuming there are no even new jobs created or no new organizations come upstream. the existing job can be multiplied by 3. The same existing jobs can have 3 shifts, where 3 sets of people can have jobs. And so the backlog of graduates we've had for the past 10, 15 years, with every year we're producing graduates at astronomical numbers without recourse to how we are going to engage them in meaningful employment. Now there will be an opportunity for all these people to be absorbed by the system. Now, I am looking at the socio-political impact of this 24-hour economy.
Okay.
What I foresee this 24-hour economy is going to do is that it's going to relieve the pressure on government to introduce these consistently failed ad hoc employment schemes, which has been the bane of our economy. I'm talking about things like YE, NAPCO, and what have you. If you expand the economy for this shift to happen, and a huge chunk of these people are absorbed automatically by the system, then the dependence of government to use state-funded resources to sponsor some of these meaningless, useless, ad hoc employment schemes will be a thing in the past. Those monies can now be used or invested in more important aspects of the economy. Again, things such as, what we call, political slush funds, where huge monies are, government provide loan schemes and funding schemes for people to start businesses, and they end up becoming political slush funds. And I'm more interested in that because the wastage in our political system is serious. But you can't blame government for trying to intervene to create jobs some way, somehow for the people. But this is a much larger, brilliant solution for that kind of problem. That open up the economy, let the system provide, because government's job really is not to employ, it's to facilitate the provision of jobs, to create the environment. And if you listen to this properly to the suggestion of the former president, he's saying that, look, we're not going to force this 24-hour economy on people. What we are going to do, rather, is to provide incentives.
Yeah.
So, for example, we are going to provide different electricity tariffs for organizations who decide to produce outside the normal working hours, to run the extra 2-hour shifts. And so after peak hours, where most companies have closed down, companies which decide to continue production, maybe your electricity tariffs is going to be slashed by maybe 50% or by a certain percentage. Already we know that in this country, one of the principal costs or factor of production is energy. And so once you halve your energy cost by half, that is going to impact very strongly on your pricing. And once prices go down, it increases affordability. It drives inflation down. Yeah. The rippling effect of this 24-hour economy can never, ever be underestimated. And so it's not about, because it's John Mahama saying it, we should try and put it down. Like Alfred said, let's begin to now do the planning. Because in this country, what we fail to do mostly is to plan when we're introducing new policies. We just get excited by the euphoria around the new policy, and we fail to plan around it. Let's come up with a proper roadmap. And I am willing, and I am excited and very expectant to see the policy blueprint, the policy document the NDC is going to design for the 24-hour economy. And I hope that it is comprehensive enough, it touches every aspect of our economy, and how the government seem to reap its optimum benefit by ensuring the other auxiliary, policies that must come along it.
Yeah.
Like issues of security, issues of now, if you implement the 24-hour economy, the automatic assumption is that within 5 years, your power demand is going to increase. What steps are you going to be putting in place to ensure that within 5 years, your power supply can meet the power demanded?
Okay.
Not just power, utility, access to other, statutory infrastructure needed for businesses to operate. All these things, the demand on all these infrastructures are going to go up if you run the 24-hour economy. Okay. You need to have a plan to ensure that all those measures are put in place so that the economy does not outgrow the infrastructure, that the existing infrastructure, because of an astronomical growth that the policy is going to bring. Because definitely the policy is going to bring growth, it's going to drive growth, it's going to increase our GDP, it's going to increase the per capita income of the country, it's going to create employment, it's going to provide job security for our people, it's going to provide opportunity for the young people of this country, and we must commend it. But the planning must be top-notch.
All right.